While the Raptors came up short against the Sacramento Kings, losing 124 to 123, this was a step in the right direction. Sure, they could not hit a single three-pointer to save their life. Toronto was still giving up stretches where they played barely any defense. However, Fred VanVleet had probably the best game of the season, and Scottie Barnes was playing exactly the way Toronto Raptors fans want to see him playing, with all the positives and the negatives that brings. So we have a lot of stuff to dive into. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here at the Raptors Digest, breaking down the Toronto Raptors 124 to 123 loss to the Sacramento Kings. And as I said in the intro, I've been pretty deflated in recent games and recent weeks about how this Toronto Raptors team has been playing, but tonight I wasn't that disappointed. And I know there's going to be a lot of criticism regarding the defense and stuff, but the Toronto Raptors need to have their top 5 guys playing at a high level if they want to really compete in a loaded Eastern Conference this season, and 2 guys that really haven't been able to break out of their funks in really the last month, it feels like, have big games that can sort of put them in the right direction, have been Fred VanVleet as well as Scottie Barnes. I thought tonight both of those guys had remarkable performances. I mean, if you look at the stats, right, Fred VanVleet in this one had a season high in points, had 39 points, had 5 assists, 2 steals, was playing elite defense, was also getting a bunch of rebounds, and shot effectively from the field. While the three-point shot still wasn't that efficient, he went 13 to 25 from the field and did the thing that a lot of coaches, whether you're a youth basketball coach or I hope an NBA coach, brings up to players, is when the three-point shot's not falling, when you're not hitting, your long pull-up middies, get inside, drive the basket. And this is probably not just of the season, but one of the better games I've seen in Fred VanVleet's career of him attacking the rim assertively, aggressively, and not just fading away, taking weird scoop shots underneath the basket. He was jumping straight into guys like Sabonis, guys like Richaun Holmes, drawing contact. I mean, he had 11 free throws in this game, right? Like 11-11 from the free throw line. Fred VanVleet is an elite knockdown free throw shooter, but I can't remember the last game he's gotten over 4 or 5 free throws in a game. So this is something Kyle Lowry used to do when he was struggling. He'd do a really good job at just starting to attack the rim, using his size and strength, which Fred VanVleet has. Yes, he doesn't have the same, thickness as Kyle Lowry, but he still has a bunch of strength to drive in there, right? Take on some contact, and whether he's finishing or not, we know he's not the most elite finisher from around the basket. He can draw the contact, and even though he's not an all-star this season, he does have that reputation as a dog that's a winner, an NBA champion, and a former NBA all-star. So, he's going to get the calls if he properly draws contact and goes to the rim aggressively. So I think when the jump shot's not falling, and he did hit a couple tonight, 2 of 8, but when the jump shot's not falling, if Fred VanVleet can be more assertive, not only is it going to open up his game a bunch, right, as teams will have to guard the drive, focus on that, but it'll get his confidence going and let him play out of the funk. I mean, he had 39 points tonight while only hitting 2 threes. So that's a remarkable performance for Fred VanVleet. And while I won't say he's back fully or anything like that, I will say I was encouraged about what I saw tonight from Fred VanVleet's game. And it's not something that seems like a fluke. Sure, a couple of the shots that he hit may have been flukes underneath the rim, but in general, if he just becomes more aggressive and more assertive, I think that's going to be a huge positive for his game going forward. And tonight, the second player I got to give a lot of praise to, the second player I got to hype up a little bit is Scottie Barnes. Tonight, winning the Scottie Barnes Award. He hasn't won it in recent games, but was deserving of it tonight. And tonight, as you guys know, the criteria is fluid for this award, but tonight it's going to the Raptors' lead assist getter for the game, and a guy that just was all around great, because Scottie Barnes in this one was an absolute beast. 27 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, and was really assertive attacking the basket. And sure, he hit a couple threes. Sure, he hit a couple in the clutch, actually, which were nice to see, timely three-point shots that helped in the run and one down the clutch. But Scottie Barnes being aggressive, confident in his drives, and sure, he had 3 turnovers in this game. The 3 turnovers he had were pretty ugly. Miscommunication with Pascal Siakam, threw the ball out of bounds. He had 1 possession at the end of the game where the Raptors got a steal. It was a quick play. He tried to feed it up to, I believe it was either Gary or Fred, but while the steal bounced into his hands, he ended up giving it right back to Sacramento. 2 just sort of young rookie-esque turnovers. I know he's in his second year, but rookie-esque turnovers, right? But I like the fact that he's throwing them. Scottie Barnes in recent weeks, he's almost had the young socialite effect. I hesitate to say it, but he's been hesitant to even look for a shot. He's just been making safe passes and stuff. And a confident Scottie Barnes is exactly what we want to see out there on the court. And we're going to have performances like this. Sure, maybe not every single night. Sure, he won't be perfect. But these are the types of performances we can get from a confident Scottie Barnes. So huge positives from Fred VanVleet and Scottie. And even if we can get this, 70% of these performances from those two guys in the coming weeks, even though we have a tougher schedule coming up, I'm confident we're going to be able to win some games because Pascal Siakam is going to be way better. He had probably his, maybe not worst game of the season, but it's insane that a bad game for Pascal is now 19 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, but missed a lot of just the easy shots that he's been hitting the entire season long down the clutch. And if people start criticizing Pascal Siakam in the comment section after one game, if the frustration and all that stuff starts picking up, that's a big L. That's a huge L for me to see from Raptors fans. So he'll bounce back. He wasn't that great. Sure, he missed some shots down the stretch. If we can have strong performances from Pascal Siakam with the support of Scottie Barnes and Fred VanVleet, I'm confident this Raptors team will be absolutely fine. And people have known. I've booked it. I believe the Toronto Raptors will be a top 3 seed for this season. So I need Scottie Barnes and Fred VanVleet to come around. I got 2 big predictions on the line right now. The Raptors being a top 3 seed. A trade will come to this deadline. I got a video popping out tomorrow morning about some more trade rumors, but that's what I'm booking in. That's what I'm locking in. And guys, if you want to, lock in, if you have some passionate takes, you want to get even more excited, follow the season even closer, put some stakes on the board, guys, can sign up for CoolBet. They're the best, safest sports book across Canada, and they're supporting the channel, and you can use our link down below to sign up for them. And they have some great odds for every Toronto Raptors game. They got some futures, right, that we took a look at. You can get a pretty good money on, I think it's a plus 1,300 on the Toronto, or 13,000 on the Toronto Raptors coming out the East this season. So that's a pretty good odds there, especially with the Raptors coming back into form. They haven't won a game yet, so the odds probably won't change. But coming into this one, right? Coming in this one, you would have, the Raptors were actually favored in the game. But if you're cynical, you're not happy about how the Toronto Raptors have been playing, you could have bet for the Sacramento Kings. And maybe some fans, not going to agree with my optimism about the Raptors squad, and they're going to be betting against the team. But, you can use CoolBet to make all of your sports bets. And I know the World Cup, they got some crazy action happening. Morocco got knocked out today. But, use CoolBet if you make all your sports betting stuff. So, thanks, shout out to CoolBet for helping out, sponsoring out the channel, supporting the channel. But we have some more players we have to dive into. And the bench tonight, I thought we got some positives from Juancho Hernan-Gomez in this one. The cruise missile, he's back in the lineup, back in action, right? Coming out there playing some solid defense, had some really confident drives. He's getting some rebounds with OG Anunoby out, right? We missed this in the game against the Orlando Magic on Sunday because, the defense on the wing without OG Anunoby, we need people to step up. And I thought Juancho did a solid job. Only got 24 minutes in this one, but it would have been nice if he could knock down some more threes. Thought he was driving the lane. It seems like he's got more to his bag. If he was just a little bit more confident making some drives and stuff, he'd definitely be more of a positive for the team. But I thought Kem Birch, even though he absolutely sold a layup, it might have been blocked, but he gave solid minutes. Delano Banton had 5 minutes, 4 points, 1 rebound. People have been calling for Delano Banton. We'll talk about him later in this video. But Koloko came off the bench, 4 points, solid I'll get the box score up so you guys can see it. But Boucher in this one struggled. He's still just not knocking down his 3 whatsoever. But 6 points, 4 rebounds. He brings some energy, steal a block and stuff, but not the greatest of performances from him. But the one guy I would have liked to see, step up a little bit more is Gary Trent Jr., who only took 9 shots in this game, was 5 and 9, didn't have a bad scoring night. The Kings were locked in on him a little bit on the defensive end, but only played 25 minutes, 11 points, 3 fouls and stuff. But Gary needs to hit a few more buckets. When he's out there on the court, especially if he's 5 for 9 from the field. Shoot some more, Gary. We need to, especially on a night where we're brutal from behind the 3-point line. He hit 1 of 3, right? That's something that needs to be fixed, and Gary's one of our best shooters. So that's essentially how the roster played. Not a bad performance by any means. 1-point loss to a Sacramento Kings team that was motivated coming off a big L to the Philadelphia 76ers, but definitely things to work on going forward. But we have, let's dive into the segments. And tonight, the spicy play of the day. And, Fred VanVleet went absolutely nuclear there for stretches. I was just really happy with a couple of the drives he made, especially diving into Sabonis, and he had one really clutch where he just was not going to get stopped. He wasn't going to be denied. And sometimes we often see Fred in the clutch try to take weird mid-range step backs. He did that in the Orlando game the other day. Weird step back threes. He got blocked by that in the playoffs last year. But in this game, even though he's not the most effective finisher from around the rim, was just driving in, using his strength, using his size, and got a couple of really nice clutch takes against Domantas Sabonis down there in the rim. So nice to see Fred VanVleet using his size, using his quickness to get to the rack and get some buckets, but not all plays can be the spicy play of the day, and some just make you say, oh, geez. And a couple of these I alluded to earlier in this video. The first one is definitely going to Scottie Barnes, turning over the basketball in the clutch, where, the Raptors get a steal. They're down by 3. Easy leak out opportunity. Scottie Barnes just calms himself for half a second, doesn't throw it into De'Aaron Fox's hands. It's like a 4-point swing, so that could have been a huge plus down in the clutch. But another one is going to Khem Birch, who Scottie, he had 10 assists in this game. Could have had 11 through a nice cross-court pass to Khem, and he got swatted. Got swatted by, I believe it was TD2, TD3 now, I guess, because that's his number. But just looked like he just sold the layups. So that was tough. I think Watcher got to the free throw line after. But shout out to Terrence Davis. I know he ended things a bit weirdly with the Toronto Raptors with the domestic assault charges and stuff. I think they got dropped after, but he ended up leaving the Toronto Raptors for a second pick. But he had a really solid game in this one for the Kings. Got the start against his former team. He knocked down 5 threes and 19 points. And, we made a trade, right? We made a trade a couple years ago, trading Terrence Davis for Delano Banton. And Terrence Davis is kind of exactly what this Raptors team needs. A guy that can come in, knock down some shots, be a spark plug, play elite defense. I know he's not the most consistent guy, and he was pretty bad in the year he was back. He had off-the-court issues he was dealing with. I'm not saying we should have kept him. I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm still high on Delano Banton. But a player like Terrence Davis is exactly what the Toronto Raptors need, especially when you look at the three-point shooting, and that swings it into the infamous, the one, the only, the Paul Pierce Golden Kazoo Award of the evening. And, man, there's nothing else it can go to, but the things that could have, it should go to every game, it feels like, for the Toronto Raptors. But 6 of 21 from the three-point line, once again, 28%, and it's just ugly out here. It's ugly out here. Our team cannot hit threes. Fred was 2 of 8. Siakam was 1 of 1, interestingly enough. Gary's 1 of 3, but our bench went 0 for 6 from the three-point line. Didn't take that many because we weren't hitting, but we need more guys to knock down threes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. In the modern NBA, even though we put up 123 points, we need some more threes to go down, and we have to start playing defense. And while Scottie Barnes is great on the offensive end tonight, he's got to stop getting blown by consistently, and we need, everyone. Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., Scottie Barnes, Pascal, everyone needs to be better staying on ball defense, and we can really see the impact that OG Anunoby has just on his own in terms of locking up the other team's best defenders. We haven't been great this season on the defensive end, but without OG, we are not really much at all. So it's something that's going to have to be fixed up with our tough schedule coming up. But let me know what you guys think of the game. You guys are the best to make it this far. As mentioned, sign up for CoolBet. You'll be entered in some giveaways. They're a great sports book. And, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. But you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.